Well, hi, good morning. Thanks so much for joining me. Perhaps I should be saying good evening at your end. But it's morning here in my shop. Another beautiful morning. Hey, it looks like spring is coming. Today is the 27th of February. So I've spent a lot of time since the last time I was in here yesterday morning thinking about what to do next on the situation here. And I've been all over the map. I did run around my house looking for some kind of alternative to the speaker. I couldn't find anything that was going to be in any way a replacement. So I'm going to carry on using this guy. He makes noise. That's good enough for now. I also debated with myself, should I even carry on with this radio? Since it seems to be quite a sick puppy, it's never going to look great. And I decided, yeah, I'm going to carry on because, hey, this looks like a lot of fun to me. So I mean, I do this for the fun and pleasure of it. I don't really do this. I don't do this for the money, that's for sure. Okay. So first time or two I operated this radio, the speaker made lots of noise. The radio was making noise for the speaker. It's good. The last time I operated it, if I remember right now, nothing came out of this radio. In the interim between those two moments in time, I broke and repaired a coil wire. Well, I may not have been the one who broke it, but I probably am the guy who broke it. And my repair may not have taken. And this might be why the set's not working. That's a coil right up in here. A little tiny coil. Not sure about how realistic that is. This coil is connected to the band switch. It may only be in the circuit for certain bands. Can't say I fiddled around enough to really check all that either. But I think that's going to be a bit of a focus point here, is why is this thing not making any sound? Is it this coil, or is something else happened here? One thing's for sure, it won't make sound right now because I don't have the output tube plugged in. So let's get that plugged in before I forget. You can do it like this? No. I think I'm going to tip the radio up on its side for this round of action. I'm not going to bother plugging a tube in here anymore. It's pretty clear that it doesn't do anything except use a few watts up. Yeah, it's very tricky to see which prongs are actually the bigger ones here. There we go. If you pushed hard enough, you could shove this in the wrong way. You'd have to push pretty hard, but you could do it. So this is another tube I'm a little bit concerned about. The 6Q7 here can't be set all the way down into the radio. There's a, well, you know, that could be almost half a centimeter gap. I cannot push the tube all the way in because of these clips. There's a possibility this tube just isn't making contact. Let's see if I look underneath. That possibility is not very likely. It's most likely it's made contact. So these are just a few of the things that might be causing me trouble here. Let's plug the speaker in. We'll start off by running the radio. I think maybe what I'll do is do a little signal tracing. That might be a good way to. I gotta put this up here so it goes around. That might be a good way to find a few things more out about the radio. So and at least one of you observed that I reconnected this capacitor differently than the original. This yellow one is hard to see in the camera, but I have a new capacitor in here. And it used to connect down this way to the chassis. Now it just connects over here to the chassis. So it's the same connection. The original wire is still hanging here. Still hanging out here. Let me put it down there. So not to worry about that. Really, it's about this coil and how I tried to reconnect the lead here the easy way. Much better. Shook out a few cobwebs there. Okay. Now, Switch is on, volume's down. You can tell for sure this is the volume control because of the extensive shielding that they've done here, as opposed to the tone control. There's really no shielding done at all. Okay, just okay. Have I said okay enough times? I need an okay checklist. Check okay beside the word okay. Keep power on once again, just keeping your eyes on the dim lights up here, just in case. One last check. Anything stupid going on? No antenna connection, no nothing. If there's anything stupid going on, I shouldn't be looking at the radio. I should hold up a mirror and look back at myself, really, shouldn't I? Ain't that quiet? That's really too quiet. I'm gonna stick my ear down here. Let's hope it doesn't pop to life. No, there's a nice hum in there. Very pleasant, enjoyable hum. Oh, wait a minute here. Maybe. No, it's okay. Sorry, just sometimes when you look at things, you don't see them. Okay, enough said about that. Let me turn up the volume a bit. So there's no sound. This is the situation we were in the last time I fixed this. Now, feed in a signal into the triode inside this tube that feeds the output tube. Oh, hey, we're back in business. Let's go back up a little bit. Looks like the business fails here. Well, we got one step back. Okay, so this is basically where the output of the radio comes to this tube and is converted to audio and then sent on through the rest of the radio. So if there was audio, if this tube was getting its signal, you'd think something would be coming out of the speaker. So I don't think this tube is getting its signal. And more evidence of that is this should cause a scream come out of the speaker. So what's happened? What have I done? Have I done something? Did I do something? So, I did do work in here, but can't really see how these are power supply capacitors here. Now, obviously there's high voltage or you wouldn't get the sound out of here. We don't have the radio on full power. It's running around 80% of 120. So it's running just under 100 volts here, I think. Okay, I said something about using the signal tracer. I think that still is a good idea. Just tip the camera a little bit. See it here. The ground. What we can do is we can listen to the grid cap on these tubes. Okay, first I need to set this to audio. I don't think the band switch matters. That's the volume there. Okay, so we know nothing's reaching here. What's reaching here? Of course, I've got this set to audio now and I'm looking for a radio signal. I did a mistake. Let's go back to radio. And we might as well be on the AM radio band. What do we get? Wow, that's mighty quiet. Nothing, no how. Let's go back a little further towards the antenna. So, depending upon which band we're on, and I don't. Okay, so I think we're on the AM band. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Volume's full on my. It's just the simple matter of not having an antenna hooked up. Let's put an antenna on it. I mean, if this suddenly starts working because I stick an antenna on it, I will leave the shop. Then again, a lot of weird things about this radio. Of course, nothing's going to come out. For sure, I got the volume turned up. Volume is up nearly full now. Not diggity dog. There's nothing showing up. Nothing on the front end. What's that tell you? What's that telling me? Nothing at all. I'll stick it right on the antenna. Oh my gosh, how can that be so quiet? It's got two antenna leads here. Neither of them are grounded. I think they both go into a coil. Hey, maybe it's the broken coil. So, surprisingly enough, there's something really weird going on because I mean, this is carrying a signal. Look it up the other antenna. Let's see. No, either one of these leads just seems to drain everything out of the antenna. There's nothing left. Wow. Okay. Just not a long shot, because I don't know what else to do. Let's just listen to this coil either side of it here. Let's just hear it. Wow, this radio's just gone totally silent. What would make it go so silent? So we'll trace the antenna back. The antenna wires, where'd they go? Antenna wires come through right in here. One of them goes over to a huge chassis connection. So one of these two is just straight to the chassis. Why they did it back here, I'm not sure. And notice too, the chassis connections are made inside the chassis, not on the outside. And that's another thing I've observed a lot, and I know there's a reason for it. Even rather than solder a wire out here, poke a hole through the chassis, bring the wire just inside and solder it on the inside of the chassis. And some of you know the exact reason for that, and I got a vague notion why it's done, so I won't offer my understanding of it. So that's one lead. So the other lead is looks like it's going straight into a coil. Straight from the antenna, straight into a coil. That's true. Comes straight through here and connects into one of the coils that's in a big can up here. Right off the antenna. But we can't hear anything once I hook up the antenna. Band change. Let's do a band change. Volume down. Whoops. I keep turning the set off. Volume down. Not that it seems to matter much. Different band. Volume up. Anything funny happen? Anything different? Band change. Oh, hold on. When I turn the band setting this way, set goes quiet. Turn the band setting, there's 3 settings, so let's call that 1 AM, I think. Shortwave, shortwave. So somehow when I put the band switch into what I think is AM radio, it just drains the heck out of this guy. But the other bands, not so much. What happened there? Did I? Okay, so we're on something other than the silent band. I'll turn it up here. It is up. Why aren't we hearing? Okay, so we were listening to the signal tracer. Discovered that the ground appears to come off. I should be able to prove which one of these is the grounded guy there. So this is the antenna, proper antenna connection, and my super antenna is hooked up to it. So that should be coming through. How come it's not showing up on, let's say, here? It's not. I blew up one of the tubes when I was doing tube testing. One of the, let's see, the oscillator tube tested very weak. Let's try here. Yeah, you're kidding me. Nothing? Double check my settings over here. We are set, so this is a AM radio receiver. What happened there? What happened there? Why was there a little wort? Right off the capacitor. Let's keep following it through here. Okay, so it goes into this coil. Oh boy, that's going to be tricky. Goes into this coil. There's all kinds of stuff going on there. Well, a lot of bare wires all sneaking around each other. So, no need for insulation if you're a skilled wire guy. Did I bugger that up? Okay, let's try here. Get my hand on the volume here. Right here. Nada. Okay, then let's try right here. Let's just keep going. There's not much more to check. This one here. These are all the leads going into that coil. See if I can get this camera set up here. better idea when I'm poking around in here. So let's go through this again. So this wire right here, this is coming from the antenna. It's coming through a hole in the chassis, sneaking its way down through here and disappearing down. I shouldn't really point with this, should I? Down into the coil. Yeah, point with my finger, that's even worse. On the coil, I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like 6 terminals altogether. That's a lot of terminals. That could be because the coil is multi-purpose switching with bands. As you switch the band switch. Good idea. Let's try that. So I'm going to just randomly kind of pick one of the other leads. See, the one has a red wire. This one's got to be high voltage here. It's interesting. That high voltage goes right down to this coil of question. The coil of question. Where's the volume? Volume is up full. I'm going to cut it on my signal tracer. I'm going to blow my ears off if I'm not. A little bit careful. It's just nothing here. You know, I just expect some kind of noise. Show me any kind of noise. Somebody. Let me just double check and make sure that's the antenna. That's what's on the antenna wire coming into this set. The other end of the wire, you know, if I could get this probe to it, I think I can. I think I can make this probe go all the way. No, I cannot. I cannot. I cannot reach it. I wanted to try to reach the other end of that wire. I can't fit this big lug in there. I could do something else though. I could fit something else in there. And what might that be, Jim? Seems like a crazy waste of time. It's just the other end of a piece of wire. I'm going to stick it on this high voltage one. Might be a big pop. Hey. There it is. So that's on this coil. Hey, everybody down here. So I should hear that on the other side of the coil. So okay. Now also, if the band switch is set this way, I get nothing. So there's some other problem. Wow. See, I'm always assuming best to have these sets on AM when you're fooling with them, but not this one. Now this could be because this coil is the shortwave coil. That would make maybe this one the AM coil. Maybe. So let's see what we can find here. Yeah, what's that? DC discharging. So I'm in the AM mode here. Nobody wants to say anything here. Shortwave. So let's go back and make sure. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I got to deal with this coil. This thing didn't work. My pool of solder idea failed. Everybody wins a quarter. That's pretty convincing to me that there's something going on here. I didn't make this connection right. Phooey. Okay, let's work on that. Work on that premise. Radio's off, power's off to it now. Okay. me get set up for a little bit of micro work here. Okay, you can see my boom camera here. Let's take a look through it. Now, we're looking right at the connection I did where I tried to basically connect that coil wire by just laying it in a pool of solder in here and hoping things worked. Hope didn't pay off. Now, it's so tiny. Just one second. I've got a big monitor screen here in my shop that I can utilize in these circumstances instead of looking directly at the thing. And we'll be watching what you're looking at. Well, what is this? Is that the wire on top of the solder? I don't think so. That's just a wire, I think. I need a needle to do this. The wire's right in there. You know what that looks like? Burned carbonized insulation. Or it looks like a very, very tiny cat turd. Kind of reminds me of that. So, you know, maybe it just didn't, the end of the wire didn't really get into the pool of solder. I think what I'm going to try is get a real needly tool here. See if we can't poke away at that thing. Like that's exactly what it is. I never did get the wire to sink into the pool. Okay, now that I've carbonized that insulation, I can probably scratch it off. And to do that, I'm going to introduce you to my latest finished knife. Look at that. Isn't that a beauty? It's signed. It's got a very nice, these have all got proper knife names. I don't know them. These are slices of leather all the way up here, like a Bowie knife. And I just found I was watching a show on TV where guys are making knives, and you know how a lot of knives, big ones especially, have a piece coming out here, a little, like you could picture a sword. Somebody's sword fighting, their sword has these pieces coming out here, which I always thought were to prevent the opponent's sword from coming down and getting your hand, which maybe they are to some degree, but they serve another purpose, especially on a knife. If you're going to thrust it and you're going to hit something hard, it keeps your hand from sliding up over the blade. Oh, isn't that ugly? That's what they're for. So hey, I'm sharing my knife knowledge. Let's see what we can do with this now. Now that I'm all excited about my finished knife from Finland. So it was a good thing that the wire was kind of held down. It's not anymore. Just held down slightly. Let me just improve the lighting here, because this is. If I nibble away the wire, trying to fiddle with it, nibble it away, I'll get myself into such a problem without having enough wire left. Okay, we can really see it there. I wonder if I should just try soldering it again. Let's poke at it a little bit. Now I got a camera. What I'm trying to work through here. This is what I'm trying to work through. Doing. I think sometimes on camera you really don't get an impression of what it is I'm facing. Just having these cameras here. Oh, let me change this up. It's not working. pretty bright. It's good for my eyes, not so good for you. Pull this camera back a bit. That might help in some way. Fix the focus. And I'm actually going to do something I don't normally do. I'm gonna see if I can't. Yeah. Oh, what happened? Look good there. Okay. There we go. Perfect. Perfect in that I can see and so can you. There's the wire. I guess if I had looked at this more closely after I did it, I would have seen it hadn't really sunk into the solder. So I'm just trying to knock off what I believe is carbonized insulation here. I don't need much to make this work. Probably if I got this thing sunk into the pool of solder, it might have worked. Now, what kind of current can be going through this? Not much. It's a little tiny fine wire. They're not going to all wrapped up in this coil here. If you put current through it of any substantial amount, you heat it up. So there can't be any heavy current going through this. So it can't take much of a connection to make it go. Am I doing anything here of use? Doesn't look like it, does it? That's as close as I can get with my camera there in terms of magnifying it, but I can get in with an actual magnifier. I don't know what this does with the camera. Let's find out. Doesn't do much. It does a lot for my eye, though. So I'm looking at it through the magnifier here. I don't know what I'm seeing. It's a lot of black on that wire. Like if you look at the other side here. Now we need lots of light, don't we? If you look at the other side, you don't see anything that looks black. That wire's really loose too. Wow. Why am I seeing what looks like a wire up here? See, look at the style here. They come up through the hole in the grommet. And they take the wire up and wrap it around the terminal. So it kind of comes out in behind, lots of slack. The other side, I swear that's the wire there, but this is the wire here. So I think this is the rest of the wire going up and wrapping around behind. It's gone now. It's gone. I must have pushed it off. Going back to the wire I'm after. It doesn't look so black anymore. What happened? Hey, what about the finished knife? I forgot about the finished knife. Holy smokes. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. So I'll threaten the wire with the finished knife. I can't imagine this is doing anything here. Again, though, we just need a little bit. Just a little bit of copper exposed somewhere in there. It's laying perfectly to be soldered. And I think I see tiny glints of copper. Okay, let's try soldering. I poke at it long enough, it'll break. I don't want it to shorten up. If the wire were to break right up here, which is a high risk, very high risk, it'll break right at the point you know, this is just like the power cord for your laptop computer where it goes into your computer. That's where it's going to break. All things break at spots like that. If it breaks right there, wow, we don't want that to happen. That's a really bad thing. Coils are probably the most toughest part of a radio to repair if they're damaged or something. Okay, here comes the soldering iron. I'm trying to put it right on the wire. Here's the pool. It's a Hail Mary deal. What did happen? Did it pop? Did it float up to the surface? Is that what it's doing? It's floating up to the surface. Let's see. What do we get? Oh, it's in there. It's in the solder pool this time. Okay, now what can we do here? Without turning the set on. Okay, 1 second here. Okay, so that's my signal tracer. We're going to put it on one side. The set is not on, by the way. And touch the other. What do you think? Let me try the other way around. I think it's connected. I think it's connected. Okay, now you know what? I got to adjust the exposure setting here again before I forget. Put it back to automatic. We're ready to try this radio again. My all-important 345 box and its younger brother 345. Very handy. For those of you who are shooting videos, a box like that, because you can stand it in all kinds of different ways, gives you all different heights. It's very handy. Now, antenna's on. Volume is down, up just a wee bit, like 10%. Band switch is, we'll start with AM. Maybe it'll come to life this time. And antenna's connected. Did I say that already? Everybody ready on the launch pad? Clear the launch pad. Launch pad. Ignition sequence start. Coffee time. Okay, man, make some sound. That's not very reassuring, is it? Okay, let's flip to another band. Volume up. Oh, aren't you a bum? Okay, volume up about halfway and we'll leave it there. What's what? Okay, we'll start again here. Okay, here. So it's really something not so good happening somewhere down in here. Okay, so I think that's the AM band. I thought we had better success. This coil didn't take. That's where we're at here. Okay, so I have signal tracer set to RF. The ground on. Volume down here. See, that sounds like a radio, doesn't it? Other side? Not so much. We're not getting through this coil. Phooey. Let's see if I can just touch the coil wire going into the coil here. Yep, I heard it. That's all it takes, a little tick there. I heard it. So the wire on this side is connected, and the wire is carrying the signal towards the coil. Almost certainly it's carrying it into the coil. Almost certainly it's coming out the other side on this piece of wire. But it's well insulated, so I don't think we're gonna. Maybe up in here. Any moment. Any tick. Let me turn this up. Any ticky sound. It's not very reassuring. For all I know, all I'm doing is touching wire insulation there. Not really getting anywhere. So I think this connection has got me again. Wow. Phooey on that. Let's turn off the radio. Now, how do I know for sure? Put a small current through it. Use an ohm meter. Because it maybe it is connected now, and I'm just being fooled by the way I'm doing this. And then I start getting out the soldering iron and beat what's left of it into non-existence. Let's just make sure there isn't any voltage sitting here. There could easily be something. So I'm basically connected across the coil here. So it's reading it as 14 ohms. What exactly is it reading as 14 ohms? Let's work the band switch. So these two settings, this circuit is connected to something. In the AM setting, it appears to be disconnected, without thinking too hard about what these readings really mean. That seems to go with the same earlier test. So with it set like this now, I'm reading half an ohm. Half an ohm. Half an ohm is probably just the meter all by itself. Let's find out. Yeah, so half an ohm. So I'm reading it dead short. There's all kinds of reasons why that might be, and might be just totally appropriate. Am I reading through the coil? Have I proven anything here? I don't think so. But power's off. Yeah, I kind of liked what I like this. Hey, where's this? This radio's switched off. I just noticed now the capacitor I put in there is being bumped by the switch. Huh. How you like that? I like it a lot. this might be the problem here. Looks like I didn't actually get this soldered onto the chassis. I soldered it onto a little tip of wire which came off. So I soldered it onto nothing. So, okay, another spot. And as usual, it's me. I still think that's the best spot to put it. Wow, that's a lot of solder to get in there. Now the original lead was actually soldered to the up in here. Just like sticking my hands into a radio that was just operating. I could work this over to there. Just a pile of bare wires. You know what? I could put a little bit of. Here's what I'll do. Here's what I'll do. I'm gonna nip off this part here. I say goodbye. Slide a little shrink tubing on there, and then I'll feed it through all these wires over to there. We'll hook it up where I think it originally was. Shouldn't make any difference, except this time I'll try to actually hook it up, because that'll make a difference. So I think if you're going to take on radio repair as a kind of a hobby, maybe later in life, you're going to start cold at it. You got to realize that a lot of stuff happens in these radios. like a lot of stuff. You can read about how capacitors work till you're blue in the face. The stuff that happens in these radios. It often really has nothing to do with electronics. Everything to do is mechanical stuff. Come on, guys. There we go. Now, unfortunately, the wire I've hooked up to is really pretty darn dirty. Oh boy. I don't know if the solder's going to like that wire. Crushing it a little bit here. I think I'm going to put a little dab of solder paste. What did I do with my solder paste? Put it in a spot where I won't lose it. Now, I just knew where that spot was. Well, we may have to go without it. Yeah, just the other day I thought, you know what, the solder paste is better here. For now, I don't know where here is. Let's just try soldering it. Now, what are the chances of this being the reason the radio is quiet? It's a little hard to figure out why a disconnected capacitor going to ground would result in a quiet radio. That doesn't quite add up. So this may have been connected fine until I touched it. Yeah, I don't think the solder's taking in there. Let's encourage it a bit here. Ooh. I think I got it. Let's take a look. Let's take a closer look here. Sometimes this is very embarrassing. you're probably not so sure what it is I'm looking at. Pretty much dead center of the screen there. See the wire here I'm grabbing, trying to grab. There's no solder on it. I must find my. Oh, it's right. Holy smokes! I practically bumped my nose into the solder paste. Okay, let's put a little on there. Where's my pasty stick? Here it is. I could have got in there with a little sandpaper, but it's kind of late now once you've got it kind of bent and half soldered. This should help. Mr. Soldering Iron, where's Mr. Solder? There he is. Okay. Doesn't look great, does it? I think that's got it. Looks fine to my eyeballs. Yeah, that's got it. That's got it. Okay. Okay, so that is solved, but again, I can't see how that would quiet down the radio. If anything, and the radio would get noisier, I think. With that looks like the kind of capacitor that's throwing something into the chassis, throwing something to the ground, getting rid of something. So get rid of the capacitor, it's no longer getting rid of what it's supposed to get rid of. Other thing that's freaking me right out, oh, I did how many times I keep looking at this connection and thinking it's connected to nothing because the wire is running just straight along my vision downwards. You can see it, I can't. I keep seeing this and thinking it's not connected. Well, it's worthy of another test. Just because I think it won't work doesn't mean it won't. Everything's good again. Here we go. Volume is up about 10-15%. Band switches, I don't know where. So see, I mean, the problem is there's nothing getting beyond this tube. that was my magic move there. Okay. Volume up. Band switch. This is on RF. Ooh, that's a winner. Nothing on the other side. Still don't have this connected. Let's try the switch here. Okay. So that loud, it sounds like ignition noise, is what it sounds like, is a interference sound I hear regularly in my house that I have not sorted out where it's coming from. It's external to the equipment here, I believe. No signal getting past this coil. No AM radio signal appearing. Even if it manages to get into the radio around this coil somehow, it doesn't appear. It's a nada. So. Hey. Let's play around with this now. I gotta be careful. I got my finger on an electronic part of the radio, so I can't be grabbing the chassis with my other hand. There shouldn't be any voltage here. A couple volts, nothing more than that. But I don't want to find out. So there is a signal making it through the radio from here. It's just, well, you know what it could be? I haven't got this guy operating on full voltage. Okay, let's try that out. Volume down. This could be as simple as that. Not sure the coil though. Let's give it the works. What do we hear? Doesn't sound any different. Doesn't matter on the band setting. And put the voltage back down. I really want those bulbs engaged while I'm doing this. If I want to raise the input voltage and keep the bulbs in, I put bigger and bigger wattage bulbs in here. These are fairly small wattage right now. I think it's a 60 and a 40, I think. So combined I got a 100 watt bulb in series with the radio. But I could increase that. Just so you know, you have that option. These dim bulb things are actually a really good way to go in a shop like this. It's not helping me make this work though. Let's fool with this coil some more. Now there's a really good chance there's high voltage on it because I see a red wire right here, touching right here, connected down to there. So there's a real good chance that there's B plus sitting here. Let's find out. Let's find out in a way that won't make me jump. So this is 150 volts full scale. Tip the radio over. We're looking here. Looking here. Nothing. I don't know for sure there should be high voltage here. It's just seeing the red wire. Let's go other places. Let's go look in other places. What is the high voltage? Let's find out now. We haven't done this yet. What is the B plus with the light bulbs in? The B plus, a 500 volt scale with the light bulbs in, is 250 volts in here. Let's check the other capacitor. Yeah. Am I reading that right? 500, yeah, 250. And if we put it on full, $350, $375, $350. What I can say about that is, ow! If you short that baby out, or touch it rather with your fingers, you are going to go jumping. So often with IF coils, B plus is fed through them. This coil appears to be connected to the antenna directly. it's not so likely you find B plus there. So now there's a lot of interesting terminals kind of standing out in the radio. I'm just going to poke at those for a little bit. Like this one down, not here, here. Oh, we can hear that in the speaker. And what do we see? High voltage there. And this terminal down below here. Oh, now that's interesting. Okay, did you see that? Did everybody see that? Did I have my hand in the way? There's a big resistor here. That's a 4 body end dot. That's a 554. Wait a minute. Body end dot. Body is green. End is black. 50. Dot is yellow. 4. That's a big resistor. That's a 50. That's a 5. It's a 500,000 ohm resistor sitting there. On one side of it, we get very high voltage. On the other side, though, it's very low. So it's hard to read on my meter even. That would be, okay, 50 volt scale. 40 volts. So what do you do with 40 volts in a radio like this? You don't do anything. 40 volts going nowhere. You want either full B plus, in this case 350, 375, or maybe something less than that for screen voltages, 300, 250, who knows. What do you do with a what was that? You know what, I was looking away when that happened. Why the loud sound there? Something insulated here. It's nothing. So let's see, off the high voltage, we have this great big resistor going down to this tube. So let's see what we get at that tube. Oh, yeah, I'm on the 50 volt scale. Okay, let's try it again. Other side of this big resistor from the 350. So capacitor off the 350 over to here. Nothing. Good. How about all these terminals here? So this looks like the wires that go through this tube. Yeah, it is. So there's nothing on these worth finding. So that's basically the audio signal coming out of the radio after being detected, being fed to the amplifier, and I can inject noise. Speaker does a good job on noise. Likewise back here. Why so different? Center post. The other wire is normally go to ground, I think. What's that? Well, there's a big connection here that's cut away, held something, but it's gone now. another mystery. Big honking ugly piece of soldered up wire with leads coming off it. Now, what about this volume control? Third wire. It must be tucked inside here. We would see it come out over here then. And I think I see it. think it is this one. All the way around to here. Okay, volume up. Volume's up now. Good. Sounds the same. So worried there was an open circuit in the volume control. Well, I guess we just keep working our way back now. Remember, oscillator tube was weak, and I don't remember that this tube was particularly weak. Where'd it go? Oh, we could hear that earlier. Well, I think we have to work our way back from the audio amplifier and try to track our way back. So we're going to run right into this tube right away. Well, actually, this tube first. Well, not quite. Yes, but no. So that's got the triode doing the audio amplification to feed the output tube. It also is the detector. It's two tubes in one. So clearly the auto stage is working. Jim, don't say any more. Now we need to poke some noise into the radio on the diodes, on the I'm just going to poke noise into it. So it's this one here. Do you remember? Didn't write it on my chart. 6Q7. 6Q7, I did write it on the chart. Got the radio all turned around here from what I was used to seeing. So it's pins 4 and 5 are the diode on the detector tube. Pins 4 and 5. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 4 and 5. There they are. Here we go. Okay, so if there was a signal at this point, we would hear it. So we need to go back now, one more tube, to the 6K7 amplifier here and poke it. It's the one sending a signal to the detector. Just shoving noise into the radio by just touching one lead of my meter. Which one looks like a good one to touch? So I'll look for a wire that runs between these two tubes. Which two tubes, Jim? Get it straight. These two tubes. The output of this one is the input to this one. And I wonder if this battery is causing the problem. I fiddled with the battery. Hear that? Other side of the battery, not so much. Okay, carrying on, ignoring that. Start looking at the circuit, circuit diagram. So we're going after the tube down here. A likely spot that would feed to this tube. Well, there's just a mass of wires going every which way. This one. noise comes out. And that is literally the only wire leaving that tube and heading this way in the radio. Every other wire is heading somewhere else. Some are going over to this tube. That's probably heaters. What is that tube? That tube is the RF amplifier tube for shortwave or for AM. I don't know yet which one. That's this tube here. Pointing at the wrong tube. That tube there. Don't worry, I'm following along fine in my own head. If it sounds like I'm breaking down into semi-babble, I am. That's exactly what's happening. Okay, well then, why not? Well, let's try and see if we can find a signal going into here. It's got to be coming out of here, out of this guy. Any one of these might make sound here. That one does. Nothing from there. And we're at the bottom of this bottom of that guy. It's pretty crude way of testing things, by the way. Everything seems to have, touch any of these wires, they seem to get a little bit of noise back. Maybe not this one. That's a really busy spot there. What's going on there? Let's look at the voltmeter. Yeah, so this is bringing B plus to this point. So B plus goes in this coil. It must come out on another one of these wires. See it there? But the other ones, there should be no B plus on them. That would be this one. And the other one has to also be free. Where's the fourth wire? Well, there's only 3 wires. What? Well, how do you like that? There's only 3 wires going up to a transformer. Not what I expected. Now this one appears got 4 wires. How come this one's only got 3 wires? Yeah, I'm laughing. Well, perhaps one of the transformer leads is grounded to the chassis up inside there where I can't see it. So on the 3 wires we've got B plus, B plus, and then the last one. So this is the what? I don't know. It's coming out of the coil, going to the bottom of the battery. I'd have to look at the schematic to sort all that out. Not finding anything here quickly, that's for sure. I got a big high wattage resistor here, but we got voltage on either side of it. I'm thinking it's conveying B plus, probably from here up into this terminal through this resistor. Here's another weird component here. This is the one that looks like it got replaced. I don't know what it is. So there's this connection here, which I don't think should have voltage on it. Nothing. Okay. Well, I got a problem here and something going on in there that's not working out right. I got to prove this coil out. It's a bit of a hassle. I got to prove out that coil. Oh my gosh, I've been in here quite a while already this morning. So I think I'm going to stop there. And what I've got in my mind now are there are 2 issues I need to work my way through One is this coil happening here, or is it not? And the other one is, what's going on over here? And I think that's going to involve studying the circuitry a little bit on the schematic and getting more comfortable with what all is going on over here. That's where I'm at. I think that's as far as I can get today. So it's going to be a rough ride through this radio, I'm sure of it. Thanks for watching.